Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy Headband J coming back at y'all with another commentary video. And if you like this kind of content and if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Today I'm going to be talking about the Jamal Murray ACL tear. So on April 12th in a game against the Warriors, Jamal Murray he was driving into the lane. His knee just kind of gave out. He falls to the ground. And when they get the MRI back the next day, it turns out that he has torn his left ACL. So this is really bad for the Nuggets, obviously, because Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic are the cornerstones of the franchise. They are the dynamic duo that has led the Nuggets to be a good team in the last 3 seasons. Even though the Nuggets didn't make the playoffs in 2018, they were still a really good team that year. So for the last 3 years, the Nuggets have been a good team in the West, a team that you can't sleep on. And at the center of that, we have had the fat Serbian man and the sharpshooting Canadian. So what exactly does this injury mean for the Nuggets and their playoff hopes? Now, seeing this really pains me because Jamal Murray is one of my favorite players of all time, and he's next to Jokic. He's my favorite player on the Nuggets. Obviously, I do like Jamal a lot because I can definitely relate to his play style and his love of the three-pointer a lot more than I can of Nikola's passing. So first of all, shout out to Jamal Murray. He's been one of my favorite players to watch for a while. Now, what does this mean for the Nuggets playoff run? So the Nuggets, ever since they picked up Aaron Gordon, they went on an 8-game winning streak, and then they've lost the last 2 games. One of those games was the game where Jamal Murray had the injury, went down against the Warriors. But the Nuggets were looking a lot better with Aaron Gordon, a lot more comfortable on the floor. Part of that is because Gordon brings more defense, and you know that you're going to get, 10 points and 5 rebounds from him every single night. And now Jokic has someone that he can consistently throw lobs to, even though there are some really good players on the Nuggets who can go up and get the ball for dunks. Not many people can catch alley-oops just all over the place like Aaron Gordon, and I think that that's been really good for Jokic. Aaron Gordon hasn't had like a crazy game yet, but that's the point, is that he's not coming to the Nuggets to put up 20 or 30 points every night. He's coming to the Nuggets so he can play within a role and have a chance to win a championship. And before the Nuggets even signed Aaron Gordon, they were playing much better. At the start of the season, the Nuggets got off to a rocky start, but ever since they signed Aaron Gordon, and even in the month before they signed Aaron Gordon, they are playing really well. So what does this now mean for the Nuggets now that they lose their second best player? I still think that the Nuggets can make a very deep playoff run. I still think they can go to the Western Conference Finals or even the Finals. I will say, now with Murray injured, the Finals is a bit of a stretch. When Murray was healthy, the Finals was definitely not a stretch for this Nuggets team. Anyone who watches basketball consistently, anyone who knows the Nuggets, knows that I'm not capping when I say that. They can beat any team on any given night, especially with Aaron Gordon and the things that he brings to the team. Aaron Gordon was kind of like the missing piece to what the Nuggets needed. But now with Murray out, it will be pretty hard to make a finals run, but the Nuggets could still definitely make a run to the Western Conference Finals. The way that they're going to do this is that they're going to need some of the other guys in the starting lineup to really step up. But specifically, the player who's really going to need to step up is Michael Porter Jr. Now, over the past month, Michael Porter he's been averaging 20 points per game, and he's been shooting over 40% from three-point range. He's been playing very, very well. He's really showing people why before he was injured, he was considered a top 5 pick out of his class, maybe even a potential number 1 overall pick. So Michael Porter Jr. has been playing very well, and now with Jamal Murray off the floor, Michael Porter Jr. will have more touches and more shots, and he will be expected to carry more of a scoring load, which I think he is definitely capable of. And this is the thing I was telling my dad a while ago. I said, if Murray ever gets injured and Michael Porter Jr. steps up, Michael Porter Jr. is probably going to exceed the play of Murray. And in a big 3, one person always gets left out. When you think about it, right? In Miami, it was LeBron and Wade. The left out guy is Bosh. In the 90s, you had the Chicago Bulls teams. It was Jordan, Pippen, and then Kukoc was the odd guy out. So when you have 3-star players, one person is always going to be left out. And now that Jamal Murray is going to be out for, somewhere anywhere from like 8 months to a year, Michael Porter Jr. is going to have plenty of time to step up and evolve into this new role with more shots, and he could really blossom into a star here. Michael Porter Jr. could average more than 25 points per game with Murray out of the lineup, which I'm not sure how exactly that's going to change things within the Nuggets. I know the Nuggets are for sure going to keep Jamal Murray for a long time, but in his absence, Porter is going to become that second guy. Jamal might become the third or fourth best option for the Nuggets. The next person who's going to have to step up is Will Barton. Will Barton has been one of the most efficient players in the NBA. He's an overall very solid player, a gifted scorer, sometimes a little selfish, but for the most part, he plays his role very well. He is the ideal role-playing shooting guard. He's a guy who you want to bring off the bench, but you don't mind putting him in your starting lineup as well. He's going to need to average a couple more points per game, but he's very consistent, so I think that he will also benefit from Murray being out because he will also get more shots, and he's a guy who is a volume scorer. He needs to take shots to score. So, although it is very sad that Murray tore his ACL, I think his injury will benefit two players on the team who will need to score more, which is Michael Porter Jr. and Will Barton. Now, considering the fact that the Nuggets still have a very deep team with a good bench with Monte Morris, Facundo Campazzo, JaVale McGee, PJ Dozier, and Bol Bol, even though they don't play Bol Bol that much, he is very useful in specific situations. But the Nuggets have a very solid bench unit, and this bench unit is a good thing because it doesn't put too much pressure on the starters, because when the bench unit comes in, the Nuggets staff know that the second unit is going to do their job. So with that being said, Murray is a big loss because Murray is the heart and soul of the Nuggets, and that is the thing that can carry the Nuggets very far, and that's what carries a lot of sports teams very far. It's not always the most, as corny as it is, it's not always the most talented team that wins, because when you get to the NBA level, all these guys are so good that the difference between the best team and the worst team it's not that big of a gap as you would think. The talent pool is very, very, very concentrated in the NBA. It's not like in college basketball where you have like a D1 team and a D3 team where the difference in talent is huge. This is the NBA. This is the 500, this is like the 400 best players in the world. It's a very, very small class of guys. So when you get to this to this top level, it's minute differences that separate the good teams from the bad teams, the teams that make the playoffs versus the teams that win the championships. And Jamal Murray he was a great emotional leader for the Nuggets during their 2020 run in the bubble. That was one of the craziest playoff runs we've ever seen, and as a fan of the Nuggets, I feel like I'm so blessed to have been able to watch that playoff run. And coming back from 2-3-1 leads, winning both very high-intensity Game 7s, especially the Game 7 versus Utah, where Torrey Craig shot that layup, and luckily Mike Conley missed the three, but I digress. That was one of the best playoff runs in recent memory. And the heart and soul, the leader of that, Nikola Jokic may have been the best player on the Nuggets, as he has been for a couple years, but the heart and soul of the team was with Jamal Murray. He carried that team through the playoffs with clutch performance after clutch performance, with a 50-point game, I think what sums up the entire Nuggets 2020 playoff run was that dagger that Jamal Murray hit over Kawhi Leonard in that Game 7 to really seal it. It shows how far the team had evolved, and then after that happened, the Nuggets, they had to get a bunch of new pieces because Mason Plumlee went to Detroit, Torrey Craig went to Milwaukee, Jeremy Grant went to Detroit, and those were three huge role players for them. They're very important role players. One thing that all of those three role players brought was defense, and Jeremy Grant was the role player who brought the offense. So the Nuggets, losing them, they had to recoup at the beginning of the season, and it's really tragic because just when they really found their groove with these new players and with the signing of Aaron Gordon, their star point guard goes down, and it's really tough to see because Jamal Murray is a special player. He's one of those guys who can go off for 50 on every night. In my opinion, he should have had an all-star selection by now, but that's a conversation for another time. So how exactly does his injury impact the Nuggets? Fortunately for the Nuggets, because they have a very good front office and they've drafted well and they're well coached, I don't think it impacts the Nuggets as much as some people might think. This is a very solid team. Now there's more room for Michael Porter Jr. to shine. There are more shots for Jokic, who is pretty much an automatic bucket, should definitely be the MVP this year. There's going to be more shots for Will Barton. And I do think that it is going to hurt them, obviously, when it comes to making a run at the finals. But I think this Nuggets team can still go deep and make the Western Conference Finals with the current team that they have. All right, guys, so those are my thoughts on the Jamal Murray injury. Again, big shout out to Jamal Murray, man. We're all rooting for you on this comeback. If you like this video today, please like and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, feel free to leave a thumbs down. I like criticism. And with all that being said, it's your boy Headband J signing off.